Your 40s could decide whether you retire with freedom or reach your late 50s feeling trapped. Now, I'm 43, and after 25 years of investing, I've learned that it's not only your income that determines your future, it's also what you do with your peak earning years. So here are 5 decisions that could make work optional sooner rather than later, and the mistakes I've made that you can avoid. Why your 40s are so powerful. When people talk about compounding, they normally focus on starting at 18. That is useful, yes, but it can also make somebody in their 40s feel as though the opportunity has already gone. It hasn't. Just to be transparent, I started investing £500 a month in my stocks and shares ISA as a clueless 18-year-old. I stopped after 6 months. Unfortunately, that one decision, 25 years later, could have cost me over £600,000 potentially. Obviously, nothing is guaranteed with investing. If you were like 43, like me or similar, you could still have roughly 17 years until the age of 60, 24 years until you're 67, and depending on your date of birth, around 25 years until state pension age. That's still a decent period of time. Most people will ignore this message, but the fact is, most people won't be okay in their 50s and early 60s, from my experience anyway. Your 40s is normally when your earning power improves. You have more experience. You might move into management. Your business might grow. Or you might be able to charge more for what you actually do. Now, I've spent 25 years working in electrical engineering and commissioning. Some of my best paid opportunities have come later, after years of experience, qualifications, responsibility, and working away from home, abroad. But earning more only helps if some of that extra money stays yours and you invest it. A higher income can build freedom. It can also push you or nudge you towards a larger mortgage, a more expensive car, and a collection of monthly payments that make leaving work almost impossible. On the topic of work, if you want to know 3 simple ways to get your next job or even how to increase your income, see below for a recent video. Decision 1. Do not let every pay rise become a lifestyle rise. Lifestyle inflation rarely feels reckless. That's why it's dangerous. You earn more, so you upgrade the car. You move to a bigger house, like we did back in 2013. Holidays improve, subscriptions multiply, the kids need more. None of those decisions look bad on their own at the time, but eventually your life costs exactly what you earn, even when you were earning more than ever. I understand the temptation. I've spent long periods working abroad, working away from home, away from my wife and daughters. When you sacrifice time with your family, it's easy to think I deserve to enjoy this money now, and you should enjoy some of it. Now, I'm not interested in the normal, hard-working people to live miserably for 25 years. So they might be wealthy one day further down the line, but I do believe every pay rise needs a job before your lifestyle absorbs it. One simple rule might be to invest half of each increase and enjoy the other half. If your take-home pay rise by like £400 a month, move £200 automatically into your pension or stocks and shares ISA before it becomes normal spending. That allows your life to improve today while your future improves as well at the same time. Freedom isn't built from what you earn, it's built from the gap between what you earn and what your life requires. Decision 2. Understand the real cost of permanent payments. This is one of the many things we should have been taught at school, but weren't. The most expensive decisions in your 40s are often sold through a monthly payment. Can you afford another £500 a month for the house? Can you manage £600 for the car? Technically, maybe you can. But the better question is this: what could that payment stop you from doing later? £500 a month invested from the age of 43 to 60, an illustrative 7% return could grow to roughly £195,000. Continue until you're 68 and the illustration rises above £400,000. That doesn't mean never buy the bigger house or the better car. Money is there to improve our lives. It means recognizing that every permanent payment competes with your future freedom. Now, I own property and I still have a mortgage on my own home, our own home, so I'm not pretending all debt is automatically bad. Property has played a major part in building my wealth. But I've also learned that an asset and an impressive lifestyle purchase are not the same thing. The question I now I now ask is not only can I afford it, I ask, does this move me towards the life I want at 55 or make me more dependent on my salary, my income? Decision 3, use the UK system properly. A lot of financial content online is built for Americans. In the UK, we have our own tools like workplace pensions, employer contributions, pension tax relief, stocks and shares ISAs, and SIPs. If your employer offers a pension contribution and you are not capturing the full amount available, that is one of the first places I would look at. It's part of your overall day, and ignoring it can mean leaving valuable money behind on the table. Pensions can be really tax efficient, particularly for higher rate taxpayers, although the rules and access restrictions matter as well. Stocks and shares ISAs don't give pension tax relief on the way in, but investments can grow free from UK income tax and capital gains tax. And the money is more flexible to access. That's why I like it. For me, that flexibility matters because my goal isn't simply to stop at state pension age. I want to make work optional much earlier if possible. A pension can support later life, while ISA investments can help bridge the years before pension access. Since 2019, I've made stocks and shares ISAs and pensions a much more deliberate part of my strategy, my investing strategy, with low-cost diversified funds forming the foundation. I still take higher risks in selected areas, yes, but I don't want my entire future to depend on one property, one company, or one cryptocurrency. The point is not that everybody needs the same allocation. It's that by your 40s, your investments should form a system rather than a random collection of things you once bought. Before we get to decision number 4, this, as always, is not financial advice. Please do your own research because at the end of the day, you're a big boy or girl and your investment is your responsibility. That's it. Decision 4, do not let past mistakes control the next 20 years. This might be the most personal lesson for me. In 2011, I lost our life savings. Unfortunately, that experience didn't just cost me money. It changed how safe or dangerous every future decision felt. Between roughly 2012 and 2016, I kept around £70,000 in premium bonds, me and my wife. The money felt protected, safe, and after what had happened, that feeling mattered. But it earned very little interest and inflation quietly reduced what it could buy. My mistake wasn't holding safe money. Everybody needs resilience and an emergency fund. My mistake was allowing fear to keep too much long-term money away from productive investments for too long. I also delayed buying another rental property until 2018 because, to be honest, I was frightened of getting things wrong again. And here's another one. A few years later in crypto, I made the opposite mistake, taking too much risk, becoming greedy and failing to sell enough when an investment had risen big time. Could have, should have, would have. Those experiences taught me that risk has two sides. There is the obvious risk of losing money. There is also the quieter risk of staying so safe that inflation and loss compounding prevent you from reaching your goals, your financial goals. By your 40s, you've probably made financial mistakes like me. You might have debt, a pension you ignored, a failed business, a property that went wrong, or investments bought at the top, the wrong time. The answer isn't to pretend those mistakes never happened. It's to learn from them without allowing them to dictate every decision you make for the rest of your life. Decision 5, help your family without abandoning your future. Your 40s can be financially demanding because you're often supporting several generations all at once. You might have teenagers, university costs, older parents who need a bit of help and support, and a mortgage that still feels substantial. It's completely natural to put your children first, obviously. I have 2 daughters and we invest £100 a month for each of them. I want to give them a better start and teach them what I wish I had understood more consistently when I was younger, a lot younger. But helping your children cannot mean completely neglecting your own retirement. If you reach your 60s without enough income, the financial pressure might eventually return to the same children you were trying to protect in the first place. Let that sink in for a minute. Support does not have to mean paying for literally everything. Financial education, regular investing, realistic conversations, and helping within clear limits can be more valuable than trying to fund every want at the expense of your own future. You're not choosing between loving your family, like your kids, and investing. A substantial retirement plan is part of protecting your family. And try and get in the comments, because that's going to really help this little channel. More people need to hear this type of information, in my opinion. What retiring free actually means. When I say retire free, I don't necessarily mean sitting on a beach at 50 and never working again. For me, freedom means choice. It means being able to reject a contract that keeps me away from home for too long. It means not accepting every job purely because of the mortgage and lifestyle it demands. It means having the options to spend more time growing my investing community, working on Document, the software business I'm now involved with in 2026, doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, my now favourite sport, or just being with my family, the people I love the most. Somebody can have a high salary and still be trapped because every pound is already committed. Somebody else can earn less but have low fixed costs, investments, and enough flexibility to change direction. That's why your number is personal. You might want to retire completely at 55. You might want to work like 3 days a week. You might enjoy your career, but want the confidence that you could leave if you wanted to. The goal is not to look wealthy, it's to want enough of your time. A simple audit for your 40s. If you are in your 40s, I would review 6 things this week. First, calculate your total invested wealth across workplace pensions, all pensions, SIPs, and stocks and shares ISAs. Second, check how much you and your employer are contributing each month, every month. Third, list every fixed monthly payment and ask yourself which ones genuinely improve your life. Fourth, decide in advance what percentage of your next pay rise, bonus, or extra income will go towards freedom. Fifth, check your state pension forecast. But don't assume the state pension alone will create the retirement you want, because it won't. And sixth, choose an age when you would like work to become optional. Estimate the income you might need and work backwards into a monthly investment target. Don't use the result to beat yourself up. Use it to make the next decision clearer, to give yourself a kick up the arse maybe. If you are 43 with very little invested, you cannot change what happened at 23 or 33, but you can make sure that 53-year-old you is grateful that you finally started. Conclusion. Your 40s doesn't guarantee that you will retire wealthy, and one difficult event can change even the best plan. But this decade gives many of us a combination we might never have again. Stronger earning power and enough remaining time for our decisions to compound. I've learned this through mistakes as much as success. I started investing young and then stopped. I lost our life savings. I became too cautious. I took excessive risks. I missed opportunities and sometimes held on for too long. But at 43, I'm not interested in wasting the next 10 years, regretting the previous 20. My aim is simple. Use the income I earn now to build assets, control future expenses, and create enough choice that work eventually becomes optional. The thing is, your 40s can become the decade when your lifestyle absorbs everything you earn, or the decade when your money begins buying back your future. So let me know in the comments. How old are you? And what is the one financial decision you want to get right before you're 50? And if you want help making investing simpler, you can join my private investing community on School for free. Comment invest below and I'll send you the link. This video is general education as always, not personal financial advice. Investments can fall as well as rise. Tax rules can change and you may get back less than you invest.